You know, they say Gen Z is the most cause-driven generation in history. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk to a couple thousand college students at the Chi Alpha Commission Conference about what we believe is the greatest cause in human history. Check it out.
Marketplace skills are missionary skills.
I have never been much of an outdoorsman. I don't like camping. I don't like roughing it. But about 10 years ago, I found myself in the back of a Toyota Land Cruiser. I was with David. We were heading out into the African bush. We were actually traveling with a Datogue tribesman named Gil, who had become a follower of Jesus and was now a missionary to his own tribal people. I mean, we had 4 hours of driving on this dried out riverbeds. We encountered a black mamba snake. We had to use a hole in the ground for a bathroom. I mean, to this day, I tell people it was the most meaningful night of my life that I never want to experience again, right? But a few hours into our drive, we stopped to talk with a woman who was walking alongside the dirt road, and she was carrying a baby in a cloth wrap around her back. The baby was sick, and she was walking for miles to the next village over where the witch doctor was there. It was the only medicine that she knew. And in the exchange that we had with this woman through the missionary, it changed me forever. So Gil asked if we could pray for her and her baby. And through the translator, I heard him say, "We would like to introduce you to Jesus." And immediately this woman's eyes brightened and she said, "I would love to meet him. Can you bring him by my village later? I will make some tea and we can talk." And we did exactly what you did. We chuckled. We thought that was funny. It was a very literal response, right? But it quickly turned into a sober realization because I was staring in that moment into the eyes of a woman who had never heard the name of Jesus before. And guys, this should trouble us. It should disturb us. It should keep us up at night, right? Because no matter what you do for a living, she is your responsibility. This is our mission. It's called the Great Commission, right? Do you know it? The Great Commission, Jesus' last instructions to his disciples as he ascended into heaven. We see him in Matthew 28:19. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations. And guys, this wasn't just a commission for pastors or professional missionaries. Jesus was talking to every one of us. And you know, the word nations here is actually the word ethnos, the Greek word ethnos, or a people joined by similar customs or culture. And we might better translate that as people groups, right? And still today, there are over 7,000 unreached people groups. 3.4 billion people, or 42% of the global population, that have little to no access to the gospel. People like this woman who could be born, live, and die without ever having the opportunity to hear about Jesus. I believe it's the greatest injustice in the world today, and it should disturb all of us. Because hear me, if you belong to Jesus, the Great Commission belongs to you. If you belong to Jesus, the Great Commission belongs to you. Not to the pastors and the missionaries over there. It belongs to you, to me, to all of us. And guys, I believe the marketplace and the business world has always been a part of God's plan for the Great Commission. I do. Look at Acts 17. Acts 17. While Paul was waiting for them at Athens, his spirit was provoked within him as he saw that the city was full of idols. And so he reasoned in the synagogue with the Jews and the devout persons, and in the marketplace every day with those who happened to be there. See, the gospel wasn't only proclaimed in religious spaces, it was taken into the marketplace. And did you know, according to historian Justo Gonzalez, business people played a key role in spreading the gospel in the early days of the church. Because as these merchants, as they traveled for business, engaging in their creation mandate, right, to form, fill, and subdue, what did they do? They carried the good news with them, proclaiming the gospel in the name of Jesus and planting the seeds of the church all across new cities and cultures. Today we might call this BAM, right? Or business as mission. But it's still true all around the world today that the marketplace is part of God's Great Commission plan for his world. We love to say at the Stone Table, marketplace skills are missionary skills. So we want you to reimagine your marketplace role through a Great Commission lens. I mean, hear me. If you are going into the marketplace, you are not God's B team leftovers. You know, I didn't get a call to full-time ministry or missions, so I'm just going into the marketplace. God didn't know what to do with me, so he stuck me over in that bucket, right? That is not true. We are called to go into all the world, to our neighborhoods, to our workplaces, into the mission field, and to make disciples of all nations and ethnos. And friends, we can do that through business. We can do that through the marketplace. So God may be calling a number of you into full-time ministry or missions work, even this weekend. And if he does, guys, you better respond. We need more of you to embrace a full-time missions calling. But the odds are, a vast majority of you, the marketplace is going to be where you spend your work life. And what I want to say to you is the Great Commission still belongs to you. Maybe you're like, yeah, Eric, I don't know. What does that look like for me? You know, I'm going into marketing, I'm going into teaching, finance, or social work. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it looks like Ellie, who budgets over and above her tithe from her new job so she can support missionaries and missions projects in unreached areas around the world. Or maybe it looks like Jackie, who ran her own successful freelancing business and realized, hey, I could run that business from anywhere in the world. So she moved to the Arab Peninsula and she joined a missionary church planting team amongst an unreached people group while still doing her freelance work. Or maybe you're like my friend Darren, who left his ministry job because the Lord gave him a vision of pursuing and pastoring people far from God by taking a job in the marketplace. And he's known as the Bishop of FedEx. He's discipling this ragtag group of coworkers that have come to faith through his witness. Or maybe you're like Jay, a businessman who wanted to make an impact on missions. So he leads a weekly prayer gathering every Saturday morning for missionaries and missions work that's moving the needle on the Great Commission. Maybe you're like my friend Kanika, who rose out of subsidized housing to become the manager of her own apartment complex where she lived. She now mentors other residents to break the cycle of poverty while sharing with them the life-changing message of Jesus. Or maybe you're like Aaron, a young financial analyst who took a job with a large company and moved to one of their international locations, allowing him to join a missionary team there that's doing work with an unreached people group. You know, or maybe, like Derek mentioned, you're like our company's founders, and maybe you're going to be an entrepreneur one day and you use those entrepreneurial skills to create a business that can give millions of dollars to missions work. See, the marketplace belongs to God. Marketplace skills are missionary skills.